hope. Let me tell you, you can drink from the cup with sweetness assurance because he first drank from what I call the cup of agony. Agony. Look at somebody, say agony. Come on, we getting ready to shut it down. I need some people. Come on, let's get this thing going. One on the eve of his death, listen to this. He prayed. He said, my soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. He said, Father, everything is possible for you. He said, take this cup from me. But then he turned around, and I thank God that he turned around. You ought to look at somebody and say, don't you thank God that he turned around? And he said, yet not what I will, but your will. Note the words, overwhelmed with sorrow. If you think your sin is no big deal, perhaps those words will help you to change your mind. Okay, here it is. This is it. Christ drank from the cup of God's wrath so that you could drink from the cup of God's grace. I didn't get enough shouts on that one. You must have been sleeping. Anybody who didn't lose their mind off of that, something wrong with us. You got to understand that had Jesus not drank from the cup of God's wrath, we would not be able to drink from the cup of grace. And when I drink from the cup of grace, I'm reminded of what the Lord has done for me. And so that's one of the reasons why people oftentimes use the terminology, I'm saved because of his grace and his mercy. What you're trying to say is that you should have been drinking from the cup of wrath. You should have been the one that drank from the goblet of destruction. You should have been the one drinking from the goblet of pain and pressure. You should have been the one drinking from the goblet of madness. But he pushed you out the way. He pushed you from the table. He sat in your place and he picked up the cup and he drank it on your behalf. And when he pushed you over, he gave you the opportunity to drink from the cup of grace. That ought to be enough to make us lose our cotton picking mind. I'm so glad for his grace. His grace saved me. His grace, it changed me. His grace, it made me. His grace, it blesses me. Every time I think of his grace, especially when I think about where I came from and what got me here, I can't help but say thank you. Look at somebody and say, I got the right cup, and I'm glad that he stood in my place. I'm glad that he made a way for me. I'm glad that he moved out of the way so that I can get my blessing. And so I came by here to tell somebody on this first Sunday, you getting ready to get blessed because you gonna drink from the cup of grace. You getting ready to open up your mouth so he can pour grace down your throat. Yeah. Can I help you? When you were out on the road and you didn't understand how you made it through, you've been in some bad places, but I came by to tell you it was his grace. Look at somebody, say grace. You were on your way to your death, but somehow he pushed some things out of the way. Look at somebody and say his grace. You didn't have a dime to your name. You didn't know how you were going to pay the bill, but all of a sudden the bill was paid. It was because of his grace. Look at somebody, say his grace. His grace, it covers a multiplicity of sins. His grace, it picks us up and it turns us around. His grace, it makes a way out of no way. His grace, look at 2 or 3 people and say his grace. 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 about it is his grace. It never runs out. And no matter what you do, no matter how bad you've been, you can drink from the cup of grace. Look at somebody, say grace. Come on, I dare some people to look around the sanctuary and say, his grace, his grace, it picked me up, his grace, it made a way for me, his grace, it keeps working on me, his grace. And can I help you? You might be in a bad situation right now, but I came by to tell you that his grace is not only going to meet you here, but when you get to the parking lot, when you're on the road, when you get home, when you get to your job, grace is going to cover you from head to toe. His grace.